Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. We are continuing our series on the history of slavery, racism, discrimination, and genocide in Canada. And today, as I said in yesterday's video, we're going to talk a bit about police brutality. Because a lot of people seem to think, oh no, we've all seen the memes online of oh, cops and rioting in America. Meanwhile, in Canada, and it's a picture of some cop at Toronto Pride Parade with this little pistol, spraying water and getting splashed like, oh no, ah! And it's meant to make it all fun, like, oh, see, cops in Canada are good. Talk to black people and indigenous people about how cops treat them. I touched on this a bit in the last video about a chief who, over an expired license plate sticker, allegedly, was forced to the ground by 3 RCMP constables and beaten. And for those who think we don't have a race problem because, oh no, see, they don't target people, black Torontonians are 20 times more likely to be shot by police than whites. Sources below. Look at the RCMP, dressed in all sorts of camouflage tactical gear and with snipers. Because the Wet'suwet'en people dared to stand up for their sacred land and said, can you not build it through here? Please, like, we're still in favor of a pipeline. Just build it away from this area that is of great significant importance to us. And we responded with helicopters, snipers, and fully kitted out RCMP. For foreigners who are watching this and don't understand, the Mountie that you see with the Stetson and the red serge, that is their ceremonial uniform. When they're out doing dirty business, like police actions in the Caribbean, Afghanistan, Mexico, breaking up protests here in Canada, they come in kitted with their helicopters, their surveillance planes. I'm pretty sure they have drones now. Their snipers, their K9 teams, and if they're really pissed off, their mobile command unit and armored vehicles. It is not just, oh ho ho, we're all on horseback. Oh, yes, oh sorry, eh? That's not what the RCMP are. The RCMP are a colonizing force and the arm of the federal government to ensure that natives stay down and keep to themselves and know their place, being out of sight and out of mind. Going back to police brutality now, because we've already talked a bit about it with regards to their history and current problems with the Wet'suwet'en crisis in the mountains of BC. So that's terrible treatment against natives so far. Let's also talk about black people, such as Dondre Campbell, Nicholas Gibbs, Abdirahman Abdi, Orlando Brown, Andrew Loku, Jermaine Carby. These are people from Montreal, the Greater Toronto Area, BC, who have all been killed by cops, many of whom have had some kind of mental issue or mental distress. Which brings us to another really bad problem here in Canada, is our cops are not trained to deal with mental distress. We need another EMS service. You know how we call for fire, ambulance, or police? We need a fourth for people in mental distress. That is what we need, because we're not getting it from the cops. Here's a timeline from May to June of this year. Regis Korchinski-Paquette, black indigenous woman in Toronto, allegedly fell from her balcony during a wellness check, May 27th. Chantel Moore, First Nations woman in New Brunswick, died during a wellness check. June 4th. On June 12th, Rodney Levi, another First Nations man in New Brunswick, was killed by police during a wellness check. And then to bring it back home to Toronto, an elderly man named Ejaz Chowdhury died at the hands of police during a mental wellness check on June 21st. In less than a month, 4 people had been killed by cops for being in mental distress, and the cops didn't know how to handle it. And this is not the only instance. It really isn't. Let's see. There's Jason Collins, an indigenous man who was shot and killed in Winnipeg, April 9th, 2020. Aisha Hudson, a 16-year-old indigenous girl, shot and killed in Winnipeg, April 8th, 2020. Dondre Campbell, who I mentioned earlier. Randy Cochran, 30, of Fisher River Cree Nation, died in Winnipeg on July 14th, 2019. Sean Thompson of Little Saskatchewan First Nation, indigenous man, died in custody of police June 26th, 2019. Machwar Madut, 43-year-old African man who immigrated to Canada, shot and killed in Winnipeg February 23rd, 2019. Greg Ritchie, shot and killed in Ottawa January 31st, 2019. Chad Williams, another indigenous man, killed in Winnipeg January 11th, 2019. Jaskamal Singh Lail, Indo-Canadian man, shot and killed in Calgary, August 31st, 2018. Nicholas Gibbs, we already talked about him. Orlando Brown, already mentioned him a little bit. Josephine Pelche, 33, of the Cree Nation and Saulteaux First Nation, shot and killed in Calgary, May 17th, 2018. Bryden Whitestone, another indigenous man, killed in, it seems he was killed in North Battleford, Saskatchewan, October 21st, 2017. Pierre Coriolan, an African man, immigrated to Canada from Haiti, killed in Montreal, June 27th, 2017. Abdurrahman Abdi, already talked about him. Bonnie Jean-Pierre, an African man, shot in Montreal, Quebec, March 31st, 2016. Kwasi Skinny Peters, shot by police officers in Toronto. He's a black man. 2015, July 25th, 2015. Andrew Loku, we talked about him a bit. Abdurrahman Ibrahim Hassan, African man, killed in Peterborough, Ontario, June 11th, 2015. Rene Gaillan, or Gallant, not sure how to pronounce it, African man, shot and killed in Montreal, May 31st, 2015. Mark Ikamba Boekwa, shot by Peel Regional Police officers, March 20th, 2015. Phong Na Du, immigrant from Vietnam, shot by Vancouver Police Department, November 22nd, 2014. Jermaine Carby, we talked about him. Nicholas Thorne Belance, shot and killed in by Quebec Provincial Police on February 13th, 2014. Alain Magloire, shot and killed in Montreal February 3rd, 2014. Ian Price, shot and killed in Toronto November 13th, 2013. Sammy Yatim, 18 years old, who immigrated to Canada just 4 years earlier from this point in time, which is 2013. Shot and killed by police in Toronto, July 27th, 2013. All these people that I mentioned have some form of mental health issues, be it pre-existing trauma, schizophrenia, or something else. That list is way too long. And yes, sure, some of them were armed and were not complying with police officers. But I don't hear about people dying in mental health institutes for being armed or violent. They get the help they need. And they're not getting the help they need. Because again, we leave a lot of our immigrant communities behind. And we don't treat them the same as we treat the white, normal part of our country, because this is a white settler nation. We keep ignoring this and thinking, coddling ourselves with the nice images of, oh, look at the RCMP in their ceremonial dress as they pose with tourists, or Toronto police marching in pride and spraying people with fake little plastic water pistols. oh yeah, cops in Canada, you can smoke weed. Everyone in Canada is so polite. The cops let us go after just a stern warning. White people don't get the talk. I got the talk. My black friends and cousins got the talk. And the talk is where we are told how to interact with police to try, not to guarantee, but to try and give us the greatest amount of success in coming out of that situation alive and not thrown in prison and beaten up. Like poor Defonte Miller. For those of you who don't know, Defonte Miller is a young African Canadian man. I'm not even sure if that's a proper term. Anyway, he got into an altercation with an off-duty police officer and his brother, like the brother of the police officer. They beat him so savagely that he's blind in one eye. And yet the officers were cleared of nearly all charges. The justice dispensed to them is not nearly enough. At least he walked away with his life. People like Ejaz Chowdhury, Regis Korchinski-Paquette, Abdirahman Abdi, Phuong Na, Sami Yetim, and countless others can't say the same. It's a problem. Police brutality is a problem. When my dad has been arrested by cops, I do fear for his life because he is a black man in a white man's nation. And the fact that we still seem to think that things are better here and that we don't have a problem with police brutality against natives, against blacks, against our immigrant community in general, and that we are not equipped to handle mental health problems, and we think that everything's fine when it isn't, and I have to worry about the health and well-being of friends and family members, it's a problem. And that's what's bothering me